Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of the Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show, we'll revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Ike Eisenmann and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with Ike Eisenmann, and today we are thrilled to welcome a multifaceted performer, actor, singer, director, producer, entrepreneur, and author of Singing to a Bulldog, From Happy Days to Hollywood director, and the unlikely mentor who got me there, Anson Williams. Anson, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into anything else, though, I wanted to talk about something. You and I know each other from before, and you also have a connection from way before. Ike was telling me from Victory Canteen.
His father is Al Abel, and believe it or not, I mean, you know the whole story where I was standing in line for hours. Your father, I wasn't replacing your father. They needed an understudy because your dad was going on vacation for 2 weeks. So they needed somebody fast. So I'm in an open audition in the equity line, waiting up, way the hell up Ivar Boulevard for hours to get in to audition. Thank God you didn't have to dance very well. Thank God. A little of this, and I was it. So I get the job to replace your dad for 2 weeks. Then I become the understudy and the assistant stage manager. But now dig this, man. Brand new show.
Yeah.
Like all new everything, all new songs. Patty Andrews is a trip. I had 48 hours to learn the entire show. 48 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Like you're on and you're doing the show. 48
Holy
hours.
Cow.
And back then, all
What years was this?
This was 1971.
1971.
Yeah.
And and back then you had little tape players. So I'd sit there and I'd be in the lighting booth, or I'd be going, he goes stage right, he goes stage left, he goes downstage, he goes upstage, and I'm trying to learn these songs. So anyway, there was the director was this choreographer kind of guy, and not a lot of emotion. And I'm working my butt off. And we do the show. I don't remember it to this day. And he comes up to me, and I'm thinking, "Attaboy, you got through it."
Oh, you love that. You love that feedback, right?
Oh yeah. I felt so damn confident. It was a real initiation to show business. It's a business to give you lots of confidence, right? Absolutely. You want to feel great about yourself, go into show business. Yeah. And then buy your pill.
God, really quickly, because this was like such a special show, I have to say, because I was 9 years old when all this happened, and it's called Victory Canteen. It was a musical written by the Sherman brothers and starring Patty Andrews. And my father, I'm not sure. Brian Avery, I think, was actually the lead. And I think my father might have even been his understudy. Yeah.
No. I was your dad's understudy. No.
Okay. Because I don't really remember.
Well, your dad went up. So for 2 weeks, I played the part. And then he came back. He took over. And then for quite a bit, I was the understudy. Yeah. And damn it, he was never sick. So never got on. So then, and I've got another funny story about the show. Anyway, and I became assistant stage manager. When the big ears came out, I was pushing one of them.
My God.
So anyway, but after a few months, your dad got another gig, so I took over at that point. And and actually, the show was a turning point for me. It's so. Everyone, I thought, oh my God, I got a show in Hollywood. I'm on stage. This is it. And the cast is laughing at me. The only people who come here are old ladies in the afternoon. No one gives a crap.
I remember that. I remember
Yes.
seeing them because that was actually really true.
Yeah, and they were, and I thought, no, and they were right. Old ladies and wheelchairs came. So I finally thought, if the mountain doesn't come to you, go to the mountain. So I went to one of the largest agencies, IFA at the time, and I went up there to try to talk to some agents to come see the show, not realizing they could care less. Like, who are you? Yeah. I go up there, found a parking spot up the street. I go up there and I go up to the receptionist, who is really like not very nice. And she goes, "Do you have an appointment?" I go, "No, but I'm in this great show, man. I'm in this great show. It really, I would really suggest these agents come down. There's some good talent here. They got to come down and check." "Well, now if you don't have an appointment, sir," I go, "You know something? You're wrong. They got to come see this show. There's talent here." I said, "I know. I'll just sit here, and when someone's available, let me know." I'm sitting down there for like 1 hour, 2 hours, and all of a sudden the doors are opening. People are looking out, and they're looking out in the lobby, and then she's starting to call security. Really, I go, "You're lost. You're lost." So, and I'm sitting there, and finally, there's kind of a major door, the office area. It opens up. This guy comes out in a suit. "You, kid, come here." I walk in there. I literally, it happened just like this. I come up to him. I say, "Are you an agent?" "Yes." "Oh my God, you gotta come down to Victory Canteen. We've got talent you can't believe." For 2 hours, he goes, "Would you shut up with me?" We go inside, right? I am inside. It's the Taj Mahal, man. I am in, and then we go to the smallest office, but it still looked large to me. And I sit there. He goes, "Sit down." And I go, "What?" He goes, "We've been hearing about this pain in the ass kid sitting in the lobby." And I go, "That's me." And he goes, "You're very lucky." He goes, "Why?" "First of all, can you act?" I go, "Yeah." And by the way, I never had an acting lesson in my life. Musical comedies, la da 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 da, nightclubs, it's usual to be, right? All that. Drama, never. So they go, "Do you act?" Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Well, you're lucky." He said, "We just got this breakdown where you're sitting out there. It's for guest stars and Owen Marshall Council at Law way back then." And he said, "And they need high school football players at over 18. And he goes, "How old are you?" I'm over 18. He goes, "Great." He said, "I'm going to take a chance with you because we don't have anyone like you here." Oh wait, can you play football?" "Can I play football?" And I did. Actually, I did play football.
Oh, thank goodness, because I know that you never say no in Hollywood.
I did play football. So anyway, he goes, "Okay, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, the studios, the Black Tower, John Epstein's office." So I walk out with an audition. And he said, if you get it, I'll sign you. I go,
"Wow.
You'll sign me." And I walked out. I literally did a sit-down strike and got an audition. So the next morning, I'm there at 10 a.m. It's not like today where they give you sides on your computer or videos. You got there early. Remember, Ike, you take your sides and you figure it out and you go in and you talk. So I get down there early. And I'm playing. And remember, no drama at all. I'm auditioning for a football player that dies in an overdose of drugs, and it's the death scene.
Oh, good grief. Oh, my gosh.
And I'm going, all right, okay. So I'm waiting. And it's very intimidating, the Black Tower at the time. It's very intimidating. So I'm waiting and into John Epstein's office, who's the producer. There's a cat lady in a chair. that reads with people. And there's this quirky guy kind of walking around like this. Didn't introduce me to him. And hi, I'm John Epstein, blah, 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 blah. And I just remember the carpeting was so cool. It was like thick. It was like thick. You kind of glided through it. And I went, that's really cool. So I read, I fall off the chair and I die. And I die good. And I get the part directed by Steven Spielberg.
You would ask about that, right?
Wow.
He had already done Duel, but John Epstein was his friend. They broke matzah because of a director had canceled, and last minute Spielberg, without prep, came in to do the episode. Well, then I get signed to the agency. Now I'm a client, and guess who came to Victory Canteen? Agents for the first time.
Oh yeah, sure.
Wow.
Now they do.
and you know who they signed? Terry Garr was one of the.
Oh my God, that's right, dude. That was one of the first things she ever did. My father talked about. I mean, of course, it's all history now, but he talked about what an incredible talent she was, and of course, I was too young to really appreciate what all of what I was seeing. But what a great show, and she was amazing. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. And that all became part of Victory. Without Victory Canteen, I probably wouldn't be talking to you now.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is absolutely amazing. Well, I mean, I know you're originally from Los Angeles. What got you into the business? Was it always a desire for you, or how did you get involved to begin with?
I've always had a secret desire, but I was just a number in the world, a GI Bill house, little 1,100 square foot house with one bathroom, and just a number in the world with this desire. And then when I was 18, I decided to go for it. My dad went for it and kicked me out of the house because they're depression kids. What are you, out of your mind?
Yeah.
It actually looked like it was nuts. And I went out, I started singing at talent nights, around town. Mm-hmm. There was E Little Club had talent night. Jack Callie's by CBS at a talent night. Knickerbocker Hotel at a talent night. And you go with your Wallach sheet music and sing a song or two. And one thing led to another. I heard about equity auditions. I started standing in lines. And that's when I got my first job as an apprentice in summer stock. And I got my equity card at the end of the season. And so the first line I stood in that wasn't non-equity to audition was Victory Canteen. I could stand in the equity line of open auditions. Crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah. It's incredible. It's such a fascinating business. Everybody comes to it because incredible. You think back, you think of the odds. You go, what? How did this happen? It's like the odds are so against you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no matter where you come from or who you are.
Are you still acting? I mean, you were really on a roll there for a while.
No. I basically retired probably almost 20 years ago. And 20 years prior to that, I had kind of moved away from my on-camera career. I got tired of it. I've been working since I was 9 years old. As a matter of fact, I started doing commercials right around the period of time of Victory Canteen, and my father had me come to the rehearsals so I could learn a little bit more about, how the business worked in terms of all that stuff. So, really having spent an entire life in it from my childhood, by the time I was in my early 20s, I was basically exhausted and looking for like something else to do. And I got into voiceover work. So I did behind the scenes voice work for a really long time and had a blast doing all that.
That's so much better. That's so
much
better.
It was so much more fun. No auditioning for me. I was, that was a thing. And that's the thing about performers that I have always really appreciated is it's such a huge part of the business, auditioning, whether or not you're taking a chance standing in line and maybe getting a, 1 in 1,000 shot to go, get up in front of people and show what you can do. But when you start to get into the grind of being a working actor and, every day after school and all of that for the course of my life, I just said, you know what, I think I need to find something else. And I was fortunate that I came across the voiceover work, and that fed me for it, both in mind, spirit, and my bank account for a really long time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And then what did you transfer into?
I retired. I moved out to Florida. I've done a few other things. But really I'm in a very fortunate position where I'm legitimately retired now. I can kick back and have fun and do things like this without having to worry about paying the bills anymore.
Really?
So that's a nice thing. Yeah.
I hate you. I really hate you.
Well, you ended up, we're going to get to this a little bit later in more
Too young.
detail,
You're too damn young. Put it this way, you're too damn young to be retired and happy.
Yeah, there you go. But it's always part of the plan. But then, of course, suddenly when it actually works out, you think, my gosh, how did that happen? Because it's the craziest business in the world to try to plan anything. You could never plan, vacations, let alone, how are you going to pay your mortgage, unless you're on a hit series like you were, which is, beyond one of the hugest achievements that we all envy. And that was the thing I wanted. I wanted so badly to be on a series. So I didn't have, for me, it was all about not having to audition, but getting to work. And right. I envied all of you guys that landed those amazing gigs and moved on from there. But
yeah, that was definitely very, very lucky. Not so much doing the show, just everyone who was part of the show. It was it was just such an instrumental part of moving forward in life. Just priorities and wonderful mentors and an amazing creative experience where Gary Marshall really inspired us to wear many hats and helped us learn many areas of the business. So we weren't just actors, we used Paramount Studios as a college. When I was interested in directing, and Ron Howard and I did a lot together selling shows, but Gary opened up the studio next to Roman Polanski when he was doing the back lot, asking him questions. I was Day of the Locust. It's out of my head. And you're laughing at me now? Thanks a lot. And by the way, friend,
much more goes out of my head now than goes into it.
By the way, friend, it's John Schlesinger. Okay, so I was watching him do the Locust. I watched, all the Grease numbers being done back there. So I just had the years and years of a masterclass on the lot, just observing and asking questions with the best.
Well, we wanted to ask. You started the Happy Day started with a Love American style episode, right? And then that's how this whole thing was a pilot. That was the pilot that was put into that.
It was a pilot that they aired on Love American style to get their money back. So it was a pilot, period. But it was a much softer pilot, and it didn't have Fonzie, it didn't have Ralphie, had a different Mr. C, different Joni. The only regulars, the only cast members that went to the new pilot was Ron, myself, and Marion Ross. And it was a much pilot, more like Summer 42. And I played a character, like Getting Richie in Trouble. And it was really sweet, very sweet pilot, very sweet show, very soft, didn't sell. And a year later, American Graffiti came out, and American Graffiti came out, and Grease was a hit on the way, and the network thought, hey, let's try it again, but this time let's do it more like Graffiti, edgier, show. And thank God this time they added a little character named Fonzie, and actually And Ron and I had to audition again, this time screen test.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Because
If you had an audition or the role was already yours from before.
Yeah, no, they took it away. We had to get it back.
Wow.
They thought we might be too old. So we had to screen
wow.
test this time. And Don actually screen tested for Potsie, Don Mose.
Mhm.
They loved him so much, they created Ralph for him.
No.
And then Henry had this small little part. And it was actually it was written as kind of a big, goofy kind of guy. And it was between Mickey Dolenz and Henry.
Wow.
And Henry had a whole different interpretation for the character. And he invented this brilliant, brilliant character by himself. And the rest is history there. People constantly asked if I was jealous of his popularity. Not that we were unpopular, and I said, "Are you kidding me? He bought me a house. I'm hanging on his coattails, man." I said, "Go, baby. Hey, keep going." No problem here.
Well, that's interesting because I just rewatched the first couple of episodes, and the tone was so different. I mean, besides Fonzie being like such a bit player, the tone of the series was so different than what came later on. I mean, as it's happening, why did they make that change in tone, for one?
We were almost canceled. When we first started the show, I think the highest we got was like 15 in the top 20. And we came in at mid-season in 74. And so we did that season, okay. The next season, we went down to 48th place.
Oh.
And Fred Silverman came over to ABC, and Gary had this idea, and Jerry Paris, our director, let's change the show to a 3-camera live audience. I think these kids can do it. I think they can pull it off. He said, I think if we bring Henry more up front and we kind of change the tone of the show and make it a sitcom in front of an audience, I think it'll take off. Well, that year, from 48th place to #1 in the world, and we stayed there, and that's when it became a phenomenon. The minute that once we went 3-camera, that's when it became Happy Days.
Because even your character, yeah.
Oh, sorry, but like those were the days when the executives would actually, cultivate the programming that they had and be willing to risk turning it around and investing in it. I mean, it's amazing how many of these hit shows fall at the whim of someone who says, no, I think we can push this forward. Let's make a few changes in it. And it's like, it's extraordinary. That's why they get paid the big bucks, obviously. But thank goodness for that, because we all benefited from it, not just you guys.
Well, it also it brought a lot of talent, on many different shows, spin-offs from Happy Days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was it was a different. I don't know. It was much simpler. There were 3 networks, and it was and television now, and Ike, it's becoming fast food.
Yeah.
What's hot? There's no hard. There are the great shows, but there's too many that are just turn them and burn them kind of shows.
Yeah.
Just they're almost like Inquirer state of mind shows. They're interesting for a while. They make some money, and next.
Right.
There's no heart to it. There's no substance to it. There's no real purpose for it other than to titillate, and get some commercial money. So even though there's much work these days for actors, I just think it's really difficult because it's difficult to stay. It's difficult. If you get the wrong 6 episodes, you don't hit, you're done. You're almost worse off you're almost worse off. You'd be better off not getting it,
right?
Than getting.
Oh yeah. Well, because you're on the show, then you're out of the loop. You don't have the opportunity to move on to something else that might hit. Yeah, it was tough enough back in my day. I cannot imagine what performers have to deal with these days.
Well, I directed The last big show I directed was Secret Life of the American Teenager. I did a third of them, and with Shailene Woodley and some really good guys. But I really tried to inspire these young men. For me, I said, this can be the best. This will be the best for you, the worst for you, because you're locked in here. You've got to start expanding, and don't worry about your dressing room, and don't worry about doing a great job, and look for opportunities to wear other hats in this business. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult to continue in this business. You lose more than you win. So, which is very difficult. It's very difficult. It was difficult for us too, but we were very lucky. I was able to create a show, go into a network and sell it. It was just interesting. It was there wasn't 18 layers. Somebody, there's not 82. It's so funny. Gary Marshall never had a development person ever. Never. He never said. It's like happiness. Oh, I think Cindy and Penny, because let's do a spin-off of Laverne and Shirley. I think it'll be funny. Let's try a segment. Let's try. Oh, it's pretty good. I think we'll have a series. Great. Then and then Mork Mindy. Well, Mork Mindy's a total fluke. You know that. Do you know the story of that?
I don't really know, but I got the opportunity to watch the pilot being shot, and was, of course, fried and blown away. But please fill us in.
And you came on the Friday, right? That wasn't a pilot. It was a segment of television.
Oh, okay.
There was never, Robert. There was no Mork, no nothing, nada, nido, nada. It was like this. It's literally Scotty Marshall at the time, who was 10. Came out of Star Wars with his dad at the Chinese theater and said, Dad, do a Martian episode on days. Do a Martian episode. Please, Daddy, please. All right, maybe if it's a dream, we can have a Martian if it's a dream, and then it's going to make sense. All right. So on Mondays, the protocol was, you read the script for the next week, because the writers are there and now they can rewrite. Then you read the script for that week that you're rehearsing, right? Mm-hmm. So we sit down, we go, Mork for Mork. It is the worst piece of crap it was unreadable. I'm telling you, it was, and they had the worst writer on staff write it, who's now rich. Out of being horrible. Rich because of Robin Williams. Wealthy because of Robin Williams. The worst. It was, and Henry Winkler, who was like this gentleman, and this is boop. Boom. So how can we? And Gary goes, don't worry, we'll fix it. We got to right. We'll fix it. It'll be good. All right. So we rehearse. So we do the show that week. Fine, right? Next Monday we're there. Read the show for the following week. Fine. Read Mork for Mork. It's worse.
Oh.
It's like we're like, I'm going. How do you do that? It's like it was so bad. So we got to do it, and they cast some guy as Mork. And he's kind of big, kind of goofy guy. And he wasn't bad. The script was undoable. Okay, so Monday we rehearsed, Tuesday we rehearsed, Wednesday we rehearsed, and then Thursday morning, you're done rehearsing. Thursday morning is camera blocking. No writers on the set, all mechanics. And then you do a run through for the writers. A couple of more notes. Friday, you're doing an afternoon show and a night show. You're done. Mm-hmm. Wednesday night, the actor quits. He goes, I can't be on camera with, he walks up, quits.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Gary Marshall comes down. We got a problem. Does anybody know a funny Martian? Al Molinaro goes, Well, there's this kid in my Harvey Lumbeck improv class. It's Robin Williams.
Oh,
He's
my
pretty
God.
funny. He's a good. And then Ronnie Hallen, who's Gary's sister, who's, oh yeah, I heard of him. He was on the new Laughing for 6 episodes, but he's funny. Bring him in. Bring him in. So okay. So next day's camera blocking. Now there's never a writer on the set for camera blocking ever. I mean, it's just mechanics. Donnie and I come in a little late because we're not in the first couple of scenes. So we come in, maybe an hour and a half into it, 2 hours into it. And I get on the set. Every writer is like this. They're like this, writing, right, putting notes down, right, like maniacs. Jerry Paris, our director, comes up. He's a genius. He's a genius. He's a genius.
Wow.
And we look, we go, there Williams, reinventing the whole damn show. Nanu. All that, none of that. He invented it all on the spot out of his head, standing on his head. But and they're like this. Right? Okay, that's Thursday. By Friday night, it's the show you saw. Right? Brilliant. One of the greatest shows, written by Robin Williams, man.
Holy cow.
I saw God, I swear it, with this. I never saw such genius and a light on this man. It was, and you saw that night people screaming and applauding, and
yeah,
but the world didn't know him yet.
Oh, it was crazy. It was like, where the heck did this come from? It really was insane.
Yes, people were out of their minds. But no one knows yet. Next Friday, there's Robin Williams giving us all those little gifts, thanking us.
Oh.
This most sensitive, kind man. And then Gary thought, there's a series here. We got to put. And he goes. There's a girl actress. She played a nun in a pilot. We didn't sell, but Pam Dauber. She's funny. She can handle him. And so he created Mork and Mindy. Okay. He put film together from that show you saw, film with Pam, and sold 13 episodes of Fred Silverman without going in the office.
Oh my God.
There you have it. And Mork and Mindy and Robin Williams. Where would he ever get a show where he could be 100%, just 100%?
Yeah.
And that's the Mork and Mindy story. There was no development. It was from God. It was from a divine intervention, man. That was it. And there you go.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Good grief.
It's amazing to me the Hollywood machinations that can happen so quickly like this.
I saw magic so many times doing Happy. Just magic of just spontaneous, decisions, and no big, just from the heart. Boom, let's do it. Boom, let's do it. All instincts the whole time. Not a bunch of meetings, not a bunch of anything. Just talented people moving forward with their instincts.
Yeah. How long did it kind of take? I mean, because every show, you're basically an ensemble group when you're doing a sitcom and this kind of thing, and you have to find your groove, because then your groove perpetuates the quality of the show. But how quickly did you feel like all your characters came together and you felt like you were working as a team in building the show?
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was just and that's the other thing about the show. It was well written and all, but you can't. It's lightning in a bottle. The chemistry of that cast, it's that undefinable something that just brings it up.
Yeah.
And it rarely happens. I Love Lucy. There's certain shows, Archie Bunker. All in there are the times where it's just like perfect. Yeah. And it was just perfect. It was just this incredible, talented group who all got along and who loved each other. And we just played with it, and it just all came together. Day one.
Man, incredible.
Well, you had mentioned, I mean, about Henry Winkler. I mean, like I said, I just watched the Happy Days episodes, and you were in the very first shot of the series. The very first one was you, also. So, what happened at some point? Because when I was a kid, Henry Winkler was like on everything, on like lunchboxes, on folders in school. So the show just blows up. How did that change your life at that point? I mean, that you said you were struggling as a series a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's this monster hit. How does everything change for all of you guys?
Well, thank goodness we had mentors like Ron Howard, who he was already a veteran and a star. And Ron always had humility and an amazing work ethic and worked very hard, wanted to be a director, really worked toward that. And Gary Marshall early on told us, listen, inspired us to take advantage of the Paramount lot, learn many areas of the business. He said, I'll do anything. This is like my college. I'll do anything for your boys. He says, I will do anything, but don't come to me and say you don't like your dressing room. Don't give me that crap. He goes, use this productively. He goes, it's not going to put money in your pocket, or by doing stuff like that, that means nothing. Live with your dressing room, okay? You got problems with script, you come to me. You got an idea to make it better, you come to me. You don't like, but don't tell me you don't like the wallpaper in your room. Don't come to me. And basically, I mean, it was just, so we were for a while, we were the Beatles. I mean, it was, if I did a concert, it'd be 60,000 people, at Ohio State Fair. It'd be over. It was, where you're singing on a show where there's 60 million people watching you every week. It's like, so we really understood fame, the bullshit of fame. We understood it. And we also understood it ain't us. It's a situation, because boy, I'll tell you, how come 3 weeks before Happy Days started, I had to fight for a date? All of a sudden I'm hot. All of a sudden I'm like, I'm happening, man. See what happened 12 weeks ago? What did you change deodorant? A little cologne? What the heck? Now I'm like irresistible. Give me a break. It's like, so all of us, none of us, we all knew what it was. Nobody got caught up in it. Really, we were artists. We wanted to learn. We wanted to progress, and we all used it productively. And nobody got caught up in the mishigash of fame, which is total fantasy anyway. We grounded ourselves and worked hard. And Gary Marshall and actually Ron Howard, they were very much the inspirations to keep that way. I mean, people would come up to me and say, what happens on the Paramount lot? What do you guys do on the lot? Oh my, Hollywood lot. Oh, I go, oh, you want to know what we do? Gary Marshall put a hoop outside of stage 19. And we shot baskets. It was very sexy. It was very, just a huge moment of our day. We shot hoops. What do you think about this? Well, I don't know. What do you think? Oh, what do you think about that? I think it's pretty. Yeah, that was it. It was as basic as basic.
Now, I have to ask, because it's bothering me for years. Why weren't you in the last episode?
I'm not going to say.
You're allowed. You're certainly allowed.
I was there. I was there at the last episode. And want to hear how, boy, I was at the last episode, and at the end, little party and all that. But talk about stupidity. Mickey Gerard was our costumer, and Henry, had his leather jacket in the Smithsonian, and he owned one, and then there was one extra. There were three, right? And I'm walking by the wardrobe room there, and Mickey just, hey, Anson, want this? It was the third leather jacket. I go, nah. You know what that's worth? I could be retired with you, Ike.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, because my wife literally, before I came up to do the show with you, And she always amazes me when she says, here's a question I want you to ask him. What was the best thing he took from the set? Because I've got a little collection of props and things from, Witch Mountain and other things that I've done. And sometimes you had to really fight to get those things because they didn't want to let them go. But, it helps being, the star of the show. So, they're a little bit more generous about that. But that's a better story, the one you gave up. Maybe not the one that you took. But did you have any keepsakes for the show?
Oh, I can keep going. I can show how stupid I am.
Oh,
they were, remember toward the end of Happy Days, they're trying to save the show and they thought they'd make it into a brat skeller. So they were going to burn down Happy Days and they made it into a brat skeller. It happened like toward the last couple of years of the show. So what they do is they're going to like really like burn up, burn it up, make it look, and screw up what's there. And they came up to the construction comes up, Anson, would you like us to save the center booth for you? Oh. Nah. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
I'd have a bigger house than you.
Oh, you sure would. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Jacket in the middle. And here's the good one too. So between the jacket and the middle booth, that's like 8 educations, college, whatever. That's like, that's better than oceanfront real estate. So
yeah.
And then they said, Anson, the jukebox and everything, you can have it for $1,000. Nah.
Yeah. You could have your own amusement. You can have your own theme park with just those few things.
Those 3 things, I'm done. It's better than 3, pristine Ferraris, man. It's like it's better than a Cobra.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Cobra. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did keep my my varsity, my school jacket.
Awesome.
In fact, I put it up for auction, and Giuseppe, who is the largest Happy Days fan, he started the Happy Days fan club in Milan, Italy, outside of Milan, Italy, years ago. He has the world record of the most Happy Days memorabilia. He's a radiologist. He's a doctor. And I sold it. I auctioned it, and I'm glad because I knew he would take care of it for life. That it would be respected, and it'll always be part of that collection. So yeah, did that. That's about it.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Ask me if I kept any scripts.
Oh no! See, I don't even have my original script from Escape to Witch Mountain, and it kills me. Absolutely kills me. I do have an original harmonica though. I do have one of the original.
Actually, I did see the original script of Witch Mountain.
Oh, really?
I did. Yeah, you can have it for $35,000.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
You know what? I'm not that attached to it, actually.
I just want to know what you could have had. You could have had a bigger house right now. A bigger house.
I know.
That would have been. That's a bathroom and a kitchen. Come on.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
I'm kidding. I never saw it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you also, during the height of Happy Days, you have this great story that I was reading about. I don't know the whole thing though. You made a visit to the White House, and President Ford's daughter steals you away. So
Kidnap me, man. Kidnap me.
Kidnapped you. So, what's that story?
You got to buy the book, man. It's.
Well, we'll help sell some of the books.
No, I'll tell you this. No, singing to a bulldog. I was literally literally kidnapped in the White House to Harold Melvin and the concert. Harold Melvin and the Blue Note concert. Yep. I had a White House toothbrush on the residential floor to brush my teeth. And let me tell you, the towels back then, they were Holiday Inn, man. Nothing great. Oh. So I was in the solarium having a beer. All right. Watching Liberty on the White House lawn. Yeah. Me. AW. Wow. Yep. Up there. Yep. No, I felt like that's why I feel like Forrest Gump. Like, what the hell am I doing here? Seriously, it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, man?
That's
so much
amazing.
fun, though. It was fun.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
I met Elvis Presley too in a
Oh, wow.
parking lot in Monroe, Louisiana. And do you want to know the story?
Yeah, probably. Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a huge
By the book. By the book.
I actually did. So,
Well, don't
Well,
worry.
get
When
to
this is
reading
on
it.
YouTube, all it's going to be is your memoir up
Right.
there on the
Yeah, right.
screen, so everybody knows what to buy. Yeah.
I can't wait
It's
to
not
read
a memoir,
it.
actually. It's not a memoir. It's actually motivational. It's actually paying forward someone in my life that I wouldn't be talking to you without him. He was African American, 50-some years old. I got an assistant janitor job in high school. He was my boss, the main janitor. Not well educated, but he called his the janitorial room the talk room, and he had 2 big oil jump cans there, and we would talk. And I was going through a hard time back then in high school, and he's the first adult that talked to me, not at me. And he helped me. The time I worked there, he helped me find me, and actually gave me the confidence to move forward in life. So you never know. Your hero is not going to be some movie star or some billionaire. It's going to be some unknown person. It could be a janitor, it could be a grocer, it could be an engineer that just connects you, that somehow connects with you and moves you forward and takes the time to do it. So be very open to feel that connection, and don't judge them by title, judge them by heart.
Oh man, that's very sage advice. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I felt like my influences came from very different aspects of the business, and yeah, just my experiences. I feel very fortunate for all those. I mean, I'm so happy to hear about Gary Marshall being so supportive about thinking about the business more dynamically than just being focused on an acting career, because that's what so many actors get caught up in. They don't think about the bigger picture. I tried to, I did have some aspirations to move into directing, and I always admired you guys that made that transition and were successful at it, because you were prolifically successful in television directing, and anyone who looks up your IMDb and takes a moment to find out everything that you did will be duly impressed. How did you find that for you? Was it as satisfying to you moving away from performing into behind the camera, or did it allow you something different to express, or how was that? How did that affect you artistically?
Oh, from the beginning, Happiness, I knew I wouldn't be acting all my life. That really, I had a little gift to certain things acting wise, but not to go down. I wouldn't win the race, because my heart was behind the camera. It really was. I mean, I limitations as an actor, and no limitations writing or creating or being behind the camera. It was so much more satisfying. It was just night and day, night and day. And it was always challenging. It was always new. It was always there was always the unknowns. Creating something from nothing, working with all these people, sometimes very frustrating, sometimes incredibly just wonderful and fun. But it was just a very special place to be behind the camera. And it was just, I never look back. Never look back. Same thing with music, singing, and all that. I stopped. In fact, it was interesting. I was trying to, I was a teeny bopper, right? And you didn't have to sing with the screams. You just kind of moved your butt. It was fine. Grabbed your check and flew home. But and then I wanted to progress into a more sophisticated area, and Sammy Davis Jr. had seen me on Merv Griffin, and I was trying to get into the nightclubs, and he was at Harrah's Reno with Bill Cosby, and he had to, for some reasons, leave for 4 days, four nights. And so anyway, and he accepted me, and Harrah's Reno, I replaced him. So it was my first big opportunity in an adult club. So we put a show together. I opened, so it was like a half hour, and boy, they're strict about that. There's a clock on stage, man, because it's like you're done, Cosby's on, you're off. They go gamble. That's it. So so anyway, the opening night, I'm a little nervous, and I always open the show from the back of the room, so everyone would be seated. Then I'd come around where the entrance is, and they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Harrah's Reno presents da 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 da," and it goes boom boom boom. I couldn't sleep at all last night. Da, da, da. Just thinking, and I open the door, and I'm going through the audience. Right, I get to the second verse. I kick the blankets to the floor, and some guy sitting there. Right, light goes on. Sammy Davis Jr. And I'm going, I kick the blankets to the screwed me up, like, and I'm going, and he's like this, I'm thinking, what are you doing here? So I go through the round, I'm going, I kick the end up on stage, people are howling, laughing. And I told people, I said, you want to know why I flipped? The Sammy Davis Jr.'s in the audience. He's like all pissed off. So anyway, do the show. So at the end, now dig this. You want to talk about Forrest Gump, the White House, better than the White House. I have Sammy Davis Jr.'s dressing room. All right. Oh. I'm in there going, where's Dean? Where's Frank? Where's Joey? Where's come on, guys, let's have a drink. They had a full bar in it, the dressing room.
Wow.
A place to get ready. I mean, it was like an apartment, And I had his dresser, I had his bartender. I'm going, no one will believe this. So it's the end of the show. I'm in there waiting, and I hear, where's my man? Where's my man? Sammy Davis Jr. I like what you did tonight. And I'm having a drink with Sammy Davis Jr. Wow. Going, so how's is you call him Frank? Is he close? Can he join us? So I do that, get decent reviews and all that, and then Lola Falana was headlining at Resorts International, and he recommended me, as a good friend, to co-bill with her, Resorts International, in Atlantic City. So there we are, man. So and it's a bigger deal. So I'm there, but the lounge was right out. Again, I did the main entrance to go through, and the lounge was right by the main entrance. And it was Bobby V, 5 shows a night. And I looked at it and I went, it's going to be me. Maybe I'll last that long and do 5 shows a night in the lounge. Maybe. Probably not. Probably won't even be that. Probably couldn't even get that. And it just hit me. I said, I felt it's over. It's done. Move on. Answer. It's done. At the time, they were negotiating the Sahara in Vegas when it was the Sahara back then. Mm-hmm. I finished the gig, but that night, at the end, I put that mic down, never picked it up again. Called my agent, canceled the Sahara deal. No, I'm done. Wow. What are you talking about? I'm done. And I went totally behind the camera. Yeah. And never looked back. Never looked back. Wow. I would sing Star Spangled Banner once in a while. I would sing the Star Spangled Banner once in a while because you got 8 free seats.
Yeah.
And free food. So I went, I'll do that. I'll do that. That's about the extent of it.
Well, I always felt I felt like you. I was very objective about about who I was as an actor and where I could go and where I couldn't go, and I kind of knew, where things were at. That's why I was prepared for a transition. And I think you have to know that, because the business is strange. It's volatile. Sometimes even when you quit, suddenly something can come your way that's still back in your old wheelhouse, and it can change things. But I really admire incredibly your foresight and your ability to make that choice, because it's hard for a whole lot of people. They hang on too long. They hang on too long because they just don't really know where they fit in the hierarchy.
Have you ever seen me act and sing? Not a hard change, not a hard choice.
Well, so you're going to work with Don Most again, your YouTube show called Harvest Time.
Yeah, man.
First. Oh, can you tell us about that show? What can you tell us about it?
Well, I wish people could see it, but it's in all these festivals now, so you can't put it on YouTube or anything. But it's just, we wanted to, it was just for fun, and actually as acting again. It was someone had an idea. Wouldn't it be great to do an anthology series where you get iconic duos and put them together again in a totally different arena, and see if it works. Will that chemistry still work? Will people accept them in a total different genre, total different place? And they call it Take Two. With these, so they asked me. So they said, Don said, if I did it, I was directing it, but if they would pick it up, and if Ron and I did it, if Don and I did it, it'd be financed. So there I am, stuck acting again, and I only did it just for the pilot, just to see if just for the pilot. Plus, it was a challenge, and the script was so brilliant. It was written by David Mamet's protege. It was Fred Stroppel's his name, and Mamet loved him. So he wrote this little half hour film that was just amazing. And the basic premise, and it's funny, but it's dramatic, and it's dark, very dark, and a lot of profanity because it fits the tone of the show. Very challenging to direct because of my limitations with it, but it came out so well because of a lot of collaboration. But basically, the basic premise is Don's my brother, and I'm on dialysis machine at my apartment, and married, and I'm going to die if I don't get a new kidney. And my brother is donating me his kidney so I can live. And he comes over, but unbeknownst to me, I degraded him all his life as a younger brother, kind of like, but I didn't know it, but he held this grudge. And he come in, and we're talking, and he goes, I have to tell you something. What? I sold the kidney. You what? Yeah, on eBay. Sold the kidney. Don't worry, might get another one. And that's how, baby. Yeah. You sold my kidney. You sold my kidney. He goes, no. He goes, I said, you sold my kidney. He goes, my kidney.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And there's the premise of the show, and it's hysterical. It's also poignant.
Oh, I saw a couple of clips from it, and the chemistry between the two of you was fantastic. It was just unbelievable. I was looking forward to seeing it, and so it's going to be out in April, right? And for everyone to see.
I think so. Yeah, we'll be able to put it back on. Yeah.
And I also read that you're doing this benefit with the Hollywood Museum, and that I cannot wait for with the Hollywood Museum Squares. A lot of celebrities, a lot of former game show hosts. Can you tell us?
That was fun. That was fun doing that show, and you had all the original hosts: Tom Bergeron, Peter Marshall, John Davidson. They all hosted, and just wonderful group of talent. And it was interesting. It's during COVID, so we did it all via Zoom. I mean, we played the squares from our house.
That's amazing.
Yeah, everyone together. It was wild. I mean, it was like crazy. It was really good. It's like we were there. We're not there. But I do miss, I remember when I did the Real Hollywood Squares with Peter Marshall decades ago. I always told people, watch the Thursday and Friday shows because you do 5 in a day, that they put, and after show 3, you go to lunch or dinner, right? And there's huge bottles of wine on the table. We are so skunked for the Thursday and Friday show. We're loose, man. It's like night and day. You watch the Thursday show versus the Monday show. Not the same people. No.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
so I will
fantastic.
always, I tell people, if any show where there's 5 in a day, watch Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Very irreverent, a lot of fun.
And when will those be out?
I think they're up now.
Oh,
they're up now. I think if you go to if you just Google like Hollywood Museum, Hollywood Squares, it'll take you where you're supposed to go. Maybe I don't know. You might have the information with you. I don't know the exact website. It could be just Hollywood Museum, and it's on there.
I'm looking forward to that. We'll put it up when we post this episode. We're going to put it up on the screen as well.
Well, I want to bring up your Alert Drops product, and yes, I remember you telling me about this years ago, and it's an incredibly fascinating idea. And you had shared with me how much you enjoyed working in product design these days. Tell us a little bit more about that and what's happening with it.
Oh, well, it's a lifesaver, and it really was developed in conjunction with my late uncle, Dr. Heimlich, who created the Heimlich maneuver. And and years ago, before I went into the product business, directing, I was working in a very remote location. It was hot, dehydrated, really difficult work day, and it was in the desert right outside of Los Angeles. So not long after I was driving back home, I blacked out. I just fell asleep, and seconds later woke up. But I could have killed myself. I could have killed somebody. Really scared me.
Gosh.
So I talked to Hank about it, Dr. Heimlich, and he said, Anson, just have some cut up lemons in your car all the time. He said, if you feel tired or exhausted, bite into it. And he explained how the citric acid in sour lemon hits the lingual nerve on top of your tongue. And the reflex reaction of the body is adrenaline. Boop, you're up, you're alert, nothing in your system. Just like going to the doctor, they check your reflexes, your knees, your elbows, the sensory connection with tongue and brain. And the reflex reaction is adrenaline, and you're up, you're alert, you kill yourself. So I did that for years. I bit into lemons, and by the way, Hank was brilliant at knowing how the body works. Simple little cures for things. He just knows how the body works. So I had this. Then I into the creating problem-solving products, and for years we were 10 years on QVC, and I was researching drowsy driving, but it went beyond that. Exhaustion in America's rampant. So not only is it killing yourself, but falling asleep, being exhausted driving, the work, kids staying up all night, studying for finals, taking too much coffee, taking too many energy drinks, ending up in the hospital, overdosing and all that stuff. Tired moms with all sorts of reasons where you need to have instant clarity. So I had this idea. I called Hank. I said, Hank, it's the top of the tongue. Why can't we create a spray drop? The right amount of sour lemon, the right amount of citric acid, water, a bit of preservative for shelves, for longevity. And he said, apps. He said, oh my God, it'll be a direct hit, more powerful than a lemon. He said, I definitely will save more lives. Maneuver. More people are exhausted than choking. Do it. So we did it. And it's called Alert Drops. So people go to alertdrops.com, alertdrops.com. Not only can they read all about it, Dr. Heimlich's input, all the proven science. MIT 50 years ago, all we do is make a better scooter. You'll see all the science, how it works, You'll see we've been honored by the United States Congress already, been honored by the California State Senate, City of LA, Fire Department, you name it. But more importantly, we've saved a lot of lives. We prevented a lot of unnecessary tragedies. And all the information is there. And then you can order it on alertdrops.com. It's very reasonable. There's over 80 sprays. So it pretty much lasts a month or more. It's less than 2 Starbucks coffees. So, it'll do a lot more than that. So I tell people, go to alertdrops.com and really prevent tragedies. Your sons, your husband, your wives, your friends. This should be something we all have in our pocketbook. And then I tell people too, hey, if you can't afford it or you don't want to get a spray, then have cut up lemons with you. That will work too. That will work too. A little messier, but that'll work too. I just care about how in this crazy world where we have no control, we have control of this. We can stop this. So easy to stop. It's very simple science.
Kudos to you for really coming up with a brilliant product.
Well, it's not Dr. Heimlich. I mean, I would have never known anything about that, how it would work. We just created a better scooter, but I'll tell you, it works, and it will save your life. Absolutely save your life.
Amazing.
And not hurt health, because all this other stuff's terrible. It's such bad marketing out there. This energy junk, it's not energy. It's just poison. And even caffeine, they say, oh, drink coffee. Well, it takes 20 minutes to take effect, one. And two, you need too much of it. And now your whole sleep pattern's screwed up. It's ridiculous. So this is it. It's all you need. It's all you need.
That's incredible.
Little spray in your tongue, boop, you're good. You're good. You'll get home safe.
Now, before we let you go, we want to know what you're working on next.
Well, actually, there's a couple of really good things that are probably going to get picked up, but I can't say anything about them right now. But it's more, but it's more, it's kind of it's a whole new level of reality show, which and I really like that because you get them all. It's quick. It's wonderful. They're really positive shows, but I love that it's not 3 years in development and all that, scripts and this and that. So it's going to be they're too clever, very entertaining shows, and I think they'll both be coming on. So.
Well, when they come out, we'd love to have you back to discuss them.
Okay, I will.
But again, no, thank you. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. I grew up watching you. I loved the show, loved your performance. Thank you so much for appearing with us today.
You bet. And I stay in touch, man.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? I look forward to seeing you out here again sometime this year. I don't know if you will be.
And also, if you get to LA, do you ever get to LA?
Oh yeah, I have. I was in LA the end of last year, but only for like 36 hours, literally. So I didn't have time to really see anybody. But next time we will get together and have some Starbucks.
That's cool too. That's cool too.
Yeah. Well, thank you. No, thank you so much for doing the show. We really appreciate it. We really do. It's been fun.
Thanks for having me on. It's a blast. Stay in touch.
Absolutely. 100%.
Guys.
This has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Ike Eisenmann, and we thank Anson Williams for joining us. And as always, please subscribe.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast.